And hello, everybody. Welcome. Happy Friday to you, America, wherever you might be across this great nation. Great to have you with us today. Wow, we've got a lot going on. I know it's a Friday, and normally we like to be a little bit leisurely, a little casual here on the show, but we do have a lot of stuff going on. By the way, today is also Open Line Friday. That gives you the opportunity to call in, and if you want to go off topic, you can go off topic. If you have a question you want to ask, you can do that as well. I want you to write down our telephone number. You will need this if you plan on calling into the program today. 901-260-5926. That is our telephone number, 901-260-5926. Also, we're going to give you the opportunity to win a copy of my brand new book, The Golden Age, How Trump Saved America. And we would love for you to get a copy of that. You'll be able to have an opportunity to win a copy, but we'd love for you to go to your local bookstore, or you can order online and get a copy of The Golden Age, How Trump Saved America. So, wow. Oh, yes, and DJ Dill is going to be spinning the tunes. So I'm excited about that. I have no idea what's about to happen on my own program today. I'm just assuming the music's going to be of quality.
It's always going to be of quality. You can count on that. You may not know what the song's going to be. It'll be a good song.
All right. I'll take your word for it. Caleb Park is going to be here for our regular Friday segment, The Good Report with Caleb Park. He's got some great topics of conversation. Also, our good buddy Joe Messina out in California. And Adam Morgan is going to be joining us from South Carolina. The president, by the way, he's going to be speaking, holding a rally for Darlene Graham. What a disaster that is. Every time this woman opens her mouth, and she's a lovely lady, so the criticism is really about her politics and not her as a person. But every time this woman opens her mouth, it's a reminder that she is woefully unqualified to be a United States senator. So Ralph Norman generating a lot of attention in the in the polls, and so we're going to talk to Adam Morgan about that. Get the lowdown on what exactly is going on in South Carolina right now. Why is it the Democrats are unloading all of this all of this vitriol? So what is going on here? Our telephone number, 901-260-5926. That's 901-260-5926. All right. And I think we've got, and ladies and gentlemen, my apologies. We had some sort of a tech snafu. I know a lot of you are texting me right now, but I believe we are back up on the air and all is good. So a couple of things we shall start with. Many of you love hamburgers. Many of you love beef. The price of beef is going up quite a bit. And no doubt about that. I think over, $6 for a pound of ground beef these days at the supermarket, which is up considerably from where it was back during the previous administration. We just call it like it is, ladies and gentlemen. We're not making these numbers up, but beef prices are indeed higher. So President Trump today just announced a 90-day waiver on tariffs for foreign beef. The president is going to allow up to 300,000 pounds of ground beef to be imported into the United States from other countries. And that is that's an interesting thing here. The president also announcing that the beef that is imported, so the foreign beef, will be sold at 25% below current market prices. And the point of that is to lower prices at the grocery store. But it seems to me that is undercutting and undermining American cattle ranchers. And I don't know about you, but I've got a problem eating foreign beef. If I want a hamburger, I want to make sure that that hamburger is coming from a cow that was from the United States of America. So anyway, the president says that, look, and I think what's happening is the White House is now understanding that the American people are in a difficult fix. They're very frustrated over the prices of things at the grocery stores and the gas pumps, and that is not going to ease up anytime soon. And so the president is making this move here. And I'm curious to hear from any of you farmers out there if this is going to concern you, that the president is going to allow foreigners to sell their beef on American soil at 25% below current market prices. Now, the president, this is according to News Nation, the president did not say where the imported beef would come from. Americans have seen beef prices surge to record highs this year, with the nation's cattle herd the smallest it's been in more than 75 years. A pound of 100% ground beef costing shoppers, are you ready for this? $6.89 in July, just below April's all-time high from about $5.55. That's what it was when President Trump began his second term in office. Now, the administration is blaming the Biden administration for the high beef prices. Over the past 5 years, the average price for a pound of ground beef has surged nearly 60%. Ranchers are warning that rebuilding the herd will take time. And the president is now turning to tariff relief in an effort to lower prices more quickly. Want to go to the phone lines here, 901-260-5926. Arnie in Georgia. Now, Arnie, I understand, are you a cattle farmer?
That is correct. I've talked with you before, actually, while I was feeding my cows.
Arnie, we're honored to have you with us, and we thank you for the hard work. I can't even imagine what kind of work you guys put in on an average day. What's your take here on the president's big announcement today?
I think President Trump really is getting the wrong advice from his advisors. I realize, yes, the price of beef has gone up, but if you look at the price of everything else going up correspondingly, there's not a lot of difference. And us producers, I'm at the producer end, and we are at the lower end of everything, because you have your producers, then you have your feedlots and stockyards, then you have the processing plants. Well, there are only 4 companies in this country that actually operate. They operate 80% of the beef processing, and they're the ones that have a monopoly on it.
Arnie, let me ask you a question here, and I've got several. First of all, I understand that there just are not as many cattle as there have been in previous years. Why is that?
Several reasons. One, depleting farmland. 2, there's so many people who are getting out of it. Because a lot of it, the farmers are older generation. I mean, I'm not considered the older or the younger, but I'm still staying in it. But as the parents die off from all this land, right after this happens, so many cases, and I've seen it happen here where I'm at, somebody, a real estate speculator, comes in with a check with more zeros than kids have ever seen in their entire life. And of course, they're ready to sell it off, get that big check, and they're gone. So that farmland will be gone. There have been severe droughts out in the Midwest, and a lot of farmers a couple of years back had to sell most of their herds off just because there were no way to feed them because of the drought, and it takes time to build a herd up. But I mean, there are many different factors.
So Arnie, I want to read to you. This is from the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, and they're upset about all of this. They say that flooding the market with government-subsidized, below-market beef is not the way to rebuild the American cattle herd. Do you agree with that assessment?
Oh, 100%, absolutely. There's something that the cattlemen are not saying. Okay, one thing to build up the herd, you would have to have replacement cattle. Well, the replacement cattle now in my area, for a good replacement cow, they call a first-time cow. She's had her first calf, so you're pretty much over the birthing hump. For a decent one, you may be looking, $2,500 to $4,000, depending on how good she is.
Well, it seems to me that if you're flooding the market with this, I see no difference in this than Zoran Mandami opening up a grocery store and charging, 35% less for his products. I mean, if you're going to allow these foreign cattle farmers to sell their product at a discount People are going to go with the discount.
That's exactly right. And it's something that most people don't know. I had said it according to one of my congressmen, a meet and greet a year or two ago. He was unaware of this. But do you realize that even with live cattle, all it has to be in this country for 30 days and fed in this country for 30 days, it doesn't matter where it comes from. It can legally be labeled as USDA beef.
Yeah. Oh
There's
wow.
no
Yeah.
country or
I've got a big problem with that. Arnie, thank you for the update there. And again, this is a head scratcher, ladies and gentlemen. But the White House announcing this, and it looks like you American cattle farmers are getting screwed. Sorry to break the news to you. 901-260-5926. Gonna take a break. When we come back, I've got to give you this update on this insane story. The mom who killed her 3 kids, she's claiming she's got bipolar, postpartum depression, or whatever. Now the crowds are even getting larger for women standing outside defending this woman, and now more than $1 million has been raised for her as well. We're going to share the latest intel there. 901-260-5926. This is the Todd Stern Show. All right. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Todd Stearns Radio Show. Great to have you with us on this Open Line Friday edition of the program. Our telephone number is 901-260-5926. That's 901-260-5926. So I want to play some audio here. This is these are supporters of Lindsay Clancy. This is the Massachusetts woman who murdered her 3 children. She strangled them with these exercise ropes, and then she threw herself off of the second floor of the family home there, and I think she's paralyzed now. Anyway, her attorneys are claiming that she had some sort of postpartum depression or whatever, and that led her to kill the children. And she said she heard voices, and the voices, the voices told her to kill the kids. The husband, by the way, has now divorced her. So there you have it. Anyway, all of these women, these woke white women wearing pink T-shirts, are outside, and the crowds keep growing. Cut number 31. Oh, and now they're blaming the husband. They're saying the husband should have done more to take that she was just overwhelmed with being a mom, and the husband should have stepped in and should have offered some sort of assistance. But now we know the husband actually worked from home so that he could be there with the wife. So anyway, is she just slap crazy nuts or what? But they're hoping that they're going to be able to get her off and basically no jail time. They want to send this woman to some sort of a medical treatment facility, and then maybe back out on the streets. Who knows? This is just crazy, crazy stuff. Unbelievable. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You know, we had Jonathan Kahn on the show yesterday. He's working on a brand new book coming out in September. And he says the reality is that there is a demonic force in America, and you can't help but wonder that when you hear these kinds of stories of a mother who kills her children, and instead of being condemned, this woman is being celebrated like she's some sort of a hero for the women's lib movement. Never seen anything like this. Got an update from Dearborn, Michigan to share with you. This is a Christian pastor who addressed the city council. You know, Dearborn, Michigan, all Muslim, and the city council members are trying to push Sharia law onto the citizens of Dearborn, which you are not allowed to do, but that doesn't seem to be stopping these guys. Anyway, I want you to listen to this Christian pastor as he addressed city council members the other day. Wow. The preacher was fired up there, and rightfully so. The fact of the matter is, you cannot have Sharia law in the United States of America. By the way, that guy, his name is Lorenzo Sewell. He is a pastor there in Dearborn, and he said he's had enough. He has had enough of the Islamists trying to impose their political ideology, and we're talking about political Islam here, trying to impose their political ideology on the rest of Dearborn, Michigan. I do not blame the pastor for being frustrated. So good for you, pastor. And I'm surprised the Muslims didn't rise up and do anything. But again, they control everything. The Muslims control everything in Dearborn, Michigan. And look, that's going to continue to happen. We saw it, I think, happening in Patterson, New Jersey as well. Completely controlled by the Islamists. Those numbers are only going to grow. You know, we had Congressman, Keith Cellphone from Texas, and he's very concerned about what's happening to you people down in Texas as the Islamists continue to rise up and take over places like McKinney, Texas, for example. All right, got to take a break here. 901-260-5926. This is the Todd Stern Show.
Well, let's talk about it real quick. Right out of the gate this morning, we've got an announcement from the administration about, cattle, beef prices. They're going to import a bunch more box beef, ground beef, scrap cuts, that's what I call them, and hopefully bring down the price of ground beef in the store for y'all. We've seen a market crash for live cattle that people like myself grow and take to the processing plants or go down through the system. That's dropped 40 cents a pound already just from that plant closure. Now this morning, the markets are crashing. But will your price change? So far, we have not seen that. And at what expense to you? I'll tell you what expense to you. This is the opposite of what needs to happen. We're not going to retain heifers and build a herd when we can have, the stroke of a pen drop our price to where we don't make a profit anymore. And honestly, that's where we stand. We finally begun to make a profit and all hell breaks loose. People can't handle it, I guess, because beef is high in the store. I get it, beef is high in the store. Look at what else is high in the store. Look at what's high for the rancher and the producer. Fuel, land, labor, all of it. You got a $9 latte, but $7, $8, $9 a pound for ground beef is too much, right? Now you're going to get stuck.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. One of the angry farmers there, and he's pretty fired up, and rightfully so. As President Trump announced, he is going to lift the tariffs on foreign beef, and he's going to allow those foreign cattle ranchers to sell their product at stores at a great discount that is not afforded to other American ranchers. Let's go to the phones here, 901-260-5926. Alice, listening to us on KWAM in Arkansas. Hi, Alice. What's on your mind today?
Oh, hello, Mr. Starnes, and thank you for taking my call. Yes, I want to briefly talk about the beef situation. I understand China has bought up an awful lot of farm land, and so therefore, that's also part of this big problem. But what I really want to talk about is the woman who killed her children. The blame game didn't work in the book of Genesis, and it won't work now, today, either. Number one, my mother used to be the head nurse in the OB department, and they used to keep the mothers 10, maybe 12 days, and they would say, has she had her cry yet? Yes, they're all postpartum blues. But when they kept them in the hospital, there were people there to help them. And today, that's not happening, and that's very sad. But when somebody says they hear voices, unless it's a sweet, special, still voice from my Savior Jesus Christ, it is of the devil, and they need to get help. And another thing I want to say is, whom we submit ourselves to be our master, he will be our master. I'm glad I have the capital H-E, Master Jesus Christ. I do believe judgment is coming to America, and my heart hurts very much. Very much.
I hear that in your voice, Alice, and it's just shocking to see. The crime in and of itself is beyond horrifying, but the reaction from the American people that are embracing this woman as if she is somehow the victim and that she should not be punished for what she did, that is just off the charts insane to me. Alice, thank you for calling in, and thank you for listening to the program. 901-260-5926, our number. That's 901-260-5926. All right. Got to play this audio. There is a sports writer out of the Seattle Times. His name is Matt Calkins, and he wrote a column. So, again, this guy, his job at the Seattle Times is to have an opinion and to write about that opinion. I know it's a unique concept, but that's what the guy does. Matt Calkins is his name. Well, it turns out he has now resigned because the newspaper refused to publish a column that he wrote supporting young ladies who believe it's wrong for men to be on their athletic teams. Cut 33, please.
Can you give us some more details on what your column was about and why you think your editors declined to publish this one and others?
Sure. I basically went out to a rally outside of Climate Pledge Arena where the Seattle Storm play, and they had a game against the Fever. And I talked to a couple of girls who were opposed to biological males competing against them in sports. One had lost to a biological male in a race when she was in 8th grade. Another refused to play a game against a biological male, a basketball game, and was taunted by her fellow students relentlessly. And I kind of wanted to get their stories in there. And so I wrote this column. I sent it to my editors Friday morning. They said, well, it's not ready for Sunday's paper yet, but we'll take a look. Then on Monday, they said, we're going to take this up to the top 2 editors in the newsroom by Wednesday. And I'm kind of going, this is becoming like an event that they're taking
Yes.
this long. And then on Thursday, I got the call saying, we're not going to run it. And basically the premise of my column was, you can read between the lines and probably see where I stand, but these 2 girls were basically saying this isn't an anti-trans movement. This is just a pro-girls, pro-women's movement. And that was pretty much the premise. Like, let's stop throwing these labels around and calling people bigots and transphobes so we can have an honest conversation about a delicate topic. And Seattle Times just didn't want to run it. It's not the first time that I'd kind of gone against the grain and gotten a lot of pushback. And so I resigned on the spot. And it wasn't an emotional decision. It kind of sounds like a rage quit move if I just was talking to a random person, but it's something that I've been thinking about for a while just because I felt like I couldn't quite do my job as a sports columnist if I was restricted on a lot of these topics.
You know what's interesting is that there is an organization of gay and lesbian and transgender journalists, and they are a very powerful group. As a matter of fact, they have a partnership with Fox News Channel. If you want to know why Fox has gone squirrely, it's because they've hired so many LGBTQIA plus journalists. That's the reason why. Overwhelming number of the people employed by Fox are not anywhere near conservative. And that should be, I don't know, an eye-opening thing, I suppose, for folks. But just so you know, that's what's going on there. And so anyway, these gay journalists or the LGBT journalists are very powerful, and they will silence anybody who objects to their agenda, especially in the newsrooms. So the best thing that could have happened to this guy is for him. Honestly, he should have, he should have waited and let him fire him so he could get unemployment. But I get it. I remember in my final days at Fox, it was insane. They were doing crazy things, even at Fox News Channel, celebrating. They had these huge pride celebrations, all the rainbow colors, and you were expected to participate, which I did not do, and I had no intention of doing. But man, the pressure, even at Fox, to bow down to these LGBT journalists is just off the charts. Off the charts. I'll never forget there was a fella at Fox. He was not exactly a looker, I mean, it is what it is. Guys are guys. And this guy decided he wanted to become a woman. So he put on a dress, and I guess that made him a woman. And one of the staffers, I'll never forget this, one of the staffers made a big deal about it. One of the female staffers made a huge deal about this in the newsroom, and actually escorted this man for the very first time into the ladies' room. No, it was not. No, it was not PMS Now. Nope, no, it was not CNN. No, it was Fox News Channel. Fox. I'm just telling you. Oh, by the way, the Log Cabin Republicans. Are you familiar with this group, the Log Cabin Republicans? No, they don't live in log cabins. No, they're well, that's understandable. I get that. Anyway, they represent gay conservatives. And if you haven't been to Washington, D.C., you're not going to appreciate or understand what I'm about to say. But most of the Republican Party is gay in Washington. I just want to throw that. Dylan, why are you laughing?
Because I know that.
It's true.
It's true.
But look, as long as they stand up for, the conservative values, what do I care?
Right,
Okay, it's your life. Live your life. So anyway, they got a group called the Log Cabin Republicans, and they have officially dropped the T from their group. So they no longer represent the LGBT. They only represent the LGs and the Bs. Everybody else, you're on your own. And they're catching holy you-know-what for it. Anyway, Log Cabin Republicans, the nation's largest group representing gay conservatives. Oh, by the way, this is why there's so many single women in D.C. And you hear this complaint a lot, by the way. And all these lovely, beautiful young ladies, and they're in Washington. And, they want to marry somebody so they can be the first lady of, whatever. And the constant complaint is they can't find any straight guys in Washington. No, I don't know what. Maybe there's something in the water. I don't know. But it is what it is. I know I'm probably shocking people out there. Can you imagine your kid comes back from his internship in Washington? Hi, Mom, I'm a Republican. Oh, God. Anyway, Ross Heminger is the group's president, Log Cabin Republicans, wrote the organization's board of directors voted to narrow its national advocacy focus to the L, the G, and the B on issues relating to sexual orientation and conservative values. The group will now focus on lesbian, gay, and bisexual advocacy, dropping the T from the widely used acronym LGBT. Well, what about the Q and the plus? That's all part of it. It's like the alphabet activist here. Mr. Heminger says, moving forward, we are an LGB advocacy group as our founders envision and as our moral center calls us to be. So there you go. So the transgender crowd is even too crazy for the Log Cabin Republicans. I think that's the story there. 901-260-5926, our telephone number. That's 901-260-5926. This is the Todd Stern Show.
got DJ Dill on the track.
I'm sorry, what?
You don't like it?
No, that surprised me. It just kind of came out of nowhere. What was that? DJ Dill spinning the tracks.
Yeah, it's my tag. Thought I'd give it a shot. Who knows?
All right, good stuff. All right, DJ Dillon. Ladies and gentlemen, here's how that works. Not only is it Open Line Friday, but if you call in and request a song, DJ Dill, we're the only talk radio show in America that actually plays tunes. Then DJ Dill may play your music. Do you have any rules? Are there any guidelines, something you will not play?
No, not really. I don't have any standards here. Maybe no cursing.
Standards? You have no standards?
No, I have standards. No cursing is probably the only rule. I mean,
Okay.
we have standards that we have to follow, but if it sounds good, I'm gonna play it.
Do you have a screamo version of like Amazing Grace or something like that?
Is that what you're requesting?
No, not really.
Okay.
I was just wondering.
I'm sure I could find it.
Wow. So, again, just all you got to do is give us a call if you got a song you'd like DJ Dill to play. 901-260-5926. That's 901-260-5926. By the way, coming up Sunday, hitting the road. I'm actually driving to Dallas. It's one of those things, Dylan, if it's like within a 6-hour drive, I'm going to do that as opposed to, get on the plane. You got to get to the airport 2 hours early. Then you got to wait for your luggage. It's just too much of a hassle.
Yeah.
And they have 2 Buc-ee's now along the way.
Well, you have to stop by both.
I'm going by the brand new one. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders was just in Little Rock, which is where the state capitol is, but that's where the new Buc-ee's is, right outside of Little Rock. And going to stop by there, get my first fill up there, and then off to Texas.
You have to get us more merch, by the way, too. We do have like several little beaver things in here, but we need more, I think.
Okay.
Like a sign or something.
I'll do my best. I'll try to get you some beaver merch.
Steal the mascot if you can.
Steal the mascot.
The statue.
I'll do what I can.
Thanks.
Well, do we have a tow line? Is that
Yeah.
tow it behind us? Sunday, First Baptist Church, Dallas, Texas, and looking forward to meeting so many of our great Texas listeners and friends. We'd love for you to be there, worship with us. After the service, we'll be signing copies of The Golden Age. You'll be able to purchase a copy there. Barnes & Noble is going to be on hand, and we appreciate them giving up their Sunday morning to help sell the book. So, again, come on out. You're going to have a great time. The music there is phenomenal. The preaching is off the charts. And then, I'm going to be hanging out. So I get a chance to visit with you as well. A lot of people say, do you do the pictures too? Absolutely. I stay there and I sign every single book, and we stay there till, there's nobody else left. So that's the way we do things. And then right back to Memphis Sunday afternoon. Going to be a busy weekend. All right, coming up in the next hour, we're going to be talking to Adam Morgan about what's happening in South Carolina right now. Look, there's no way around it. The establishment Republicans want Darlene Graham to be the nominee. That's it. And President Trump has been given some advice. I don't know if the president's doing this out of loyalty to Lindsey or what, but the president has endorsed Darlene Graham, and he's going to be holding a big rally for her in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina today. And I will just say this, Ralph Norman's the guy. If you want to elect a senator who's going to be a conservative and who's authentic and has a proven track record, then Ralph Norman's your guy. And it's a little frustrating to see the Trump administration coming out here and once again endorsing someone who clearly is not qualified for the job and doesn't have the skill set necessary. And that is not a slam at Darlene Graham. It's just the reality of the situation. And we saw all of that take place at that debate. But even more disturbing, I think, was the fact you had Fox News Channel, Hannity out there propping her up. And that's what really bothers me about all of this. So we're going to get into that with Adam Morgan. We're going to be taking your calls as well. This is going to be a constant struggle as we move well beyond the midterm elections, as the establishment Republicans try and reclaim control of the Republican Party. And that's what concerns me about this particular race. 6 years we're talking about, 6 years. So you're either going to get stuck with Darlene Graham, who may or may not be a conservative, or Ralph Norman, who is in fact a conservative. All right, got to take a break here, folks. Head over to the website, toddsterns.com. We have some great stories, including one about Detroit. That's right, they're paying kids $100 a week to go to school. You got to read the story, toddsterns.com. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Todd Starnes Radio Show. Great to have you with us. Hour 2 of the big show underway. And we have been trying to figure out what exactly is going on in the state of South Carolina. This this debate from earlier in the week. Wow, what a disaster! You had Darlene Graham out there, and first of all, I want to go back, and if we could, I just want to play what she had to say regarding Taiwan and national and our and foreign affairs. Cut number 22, please.
National security question as well. Senator, are Taiwan and the South China Sea national security issues for the United States? If so, why?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Are Taiwan and the South China Sea national security issues for the United States? And if so, why or how?
I'm just going to be honest here. I'm not on national security. I'm not that informed on national security, but I do support the military.
Okay. All right, we're good. We're good. We got the gist of it there. So what happens? Well, of course, Darlene Graham goes on Fox News Channel. Hannity brings her on to try to save face. Cut number 28.
Yeah, and to be fair, if people want to judge you on the South China Sea and Taiwan, okay, I think that's fair. But I bet, based on all your time with your brother, that you know probably everything about the Middle East because he went on one trip after another to every country in the Middle East. And I know you know a lot about Europe and the Ukraine-Russia situation because he went to Ukraine more than any other senator. And you even said in our interview that you were going to focus more on domestic issues than your brother did. I mean, you were very clear.
Absolutely. I know national security is important. We have a wonderful commander-in-chief. I know that we need to stand with the Israel, and the issues in Iran are serious. I understand all that. But again, I'm focused on the issues for everyday people in South Carolina that are struggling to make ends meet. So that's where I really want to focus. Another concern from the debate I have last night is my opponent said he was going to cut Social Security. That's very concerning to me. He also talked about creating a pathway for illegal immigrants. So that's another concern I have.
All right. I want to go right away to the Patriot Mobile Newsmaker line. Say hello to our good friend, former state lawmaker there in South Carolina, Adam Morgan, president of Majesty Music. Adam, good to have you with us. So, look, it went from bad to worse. Yesterday, she was doing an interview, and one of her handlers told the reporter, no hard questions. What is going on here?
Well, I mean, hey, I've run for office before. If that's all you got to do to just, smooth sail right in there, not answer any tough questions, that sounds pretty cushy. You're right. Well, what are we doing? We have somebody who is in the U.S. Senate. She's not even just a candidate. She is the current senator from the state of South Carolina who said that, national security, that's not her thing, and she's not informed on it. Well, what have you been doing in the office? That's really terrifying. And as far as what do I think is going to happen and how this is going to shake out, I don't know if you saw Mark Sanford, the former governor of South Carolina,
Yes.
and one of the candidates who just ran in the primary, less than 2 weeks ago? He came in fourth. He got like 50,000 votes. He just endorsed Ralph Norman this morning. So I think as you're looking at how this is going to shake out, Norman's up in the polls. Darlene's had this incredibly embarrassing gaffe. Let's be honest, probably one of the worst gaffes in American political history. They'll be playing that clip for years. And now with Sanford's endorsement of Norman, I think Norman's going to have a very strong showing. I mean, the Graham camp is putting all their hopes in President Trump's endorsement. And I just think we just saw this played out in the governor's race. President Trump endorsed Pamela Yvette. I'm not sure who is telling him and advising him to endorse these candidates, these establishment candidates who have done nothing and are not qualified for these offices. But I think in that race, you saw people didn't buy it. And he ended up having to issue a dual endorsement because the polling for Pamela Yvette was so bad, they knew she was going to lose. I think you're looking at the same setup here.
Adam, we had an unscientific survey on my X page. This well over 1,000 people took part in the survey. Who won the South Carolina GOP Senate debate? 66% said Ralph Norman won it. 23% said Darlene Graham won, and 10% said Darlene Graham's yellow notepad actually won the debate. I have never seen someone rely on crib notes like that before. And even then, she still was not able to deliver comprehensive answers to some pretty simple, basic questions.
Yeah, it's terrifying. And that's the main criticism of her is that she's not qualified for this position. And what she did is she proved to everybody she is absolutely not qualified. She's been a government bureaucrat for her entire professional life, which that's a red flag right there. She pushed DEI in the departments and celebrated it in the department she worked in and managed. She requested budget increases every single year when she operated those bureaucracies, and now she wants to be this conservative. Like, you're not a fiscal conservative. And then she, well, I'm a social conservative. But then I don't know if you saw that clip, somebody just asked her what her position on life was and whether she believed life began at conception and supported protecting that. She couldn't even answer that
No.
question. She said she had to think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. No,
It's like
you're
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 running for one of the most high profile offices in the world. You are, in fact, the most powerful political body, elected body in the entire planet. I think you should have basic answers on fundamental issues like life and national security.
So President Trump is going to be doing a big rally in South Carolina today. I don't know who's giving him the guidance here. Who is giving him all of this information on the endorsements? Ralph Norman has been nothing but loyal. He has been a solid, dependable voice on the conservative side of issues, even when the president and his administration were not on the conservative side of the issue. Ralph Norman stood his ground. I'm not sure who they're listening to. What's your take on what President Trump has done here?
I think a lot of it's a loyalty to Lindsey Graham. You know, Lindsey had been a very hostile opponent of the president, much more hostile than Ralph Norman's ever been. Ralph Norman has never even criticized the president. I don't know if you've seen that. He's never actually said anything negative about the president. He just doesn't like that he's held up some bills to make them more conservative. You remember the one big beautiful bill? Norman's the one that held it up and got rid of all the Green New Deal subsidies that Biden had in there and forced work requirements for Medicare. Ralph Norman is the original author of the SAVE Act. He's the one who filed the bill in 2020 and stood with the frontline doctors during the whole COVID debacle. So, I mean, this is one of the strongest conservative voices. He's endorsed by Turning Point USA and the Freedom Caucus. He has the best Club for Growth score in Congress. I mean, you name it. He's proven that he's the strongest conservative voice. And I think that you have a loyalty to Graham from the Trump camp. And I think that's who's advising him and pushing it. And same thing with Hannity. You know, that was an embarrassing interview for Sean Hannity to see that level of just bias. And he's softballing her questions and giving her giving her answers, actually, like kind of, holding her hand through the interview. And her claims there were laughable. What Ralph Norman said is he wants to cut the waste, fraud, and abuse that the Doge Commission found in Social Security. Those are the cuts he wants to Social Security so that the program is solvent and people continue to get the benefits that are due to them. So it's laughable. Is Darlene now saying she actually supports fraud? I mean, is that where we are? So I think people that are informed on this election are going to vote Norman, that want a conservative, competent person. The question comes down to geography. And that's why the president is going to Myrtle Beach. Because if you look at a map of South Carolina, the upstate is the largest share of conservative voters. That area is going to go heavy Norman. It already went Norman in the previous race. So that really comes down to the Midlands and the Low Country. Midlands is going to go Darlene. So that means all this rides on what happens in the Low Country, where Norman has historically not performed as well. Some people say it's just a more moderate area. Well, Sanford's from Charleston. He won Charleston in the first go round. He just endorsed Norman. The other largest share of voters is along the coast, that Myrtle Beach area. That's where the president is going to have his rally. And the hope is that they can boost turnout in that area, which is very pro-Trump, in order to push her over the finish line. But I think after that gap, I just don't think it's going to work.
Well, again, it's a disturbing situation, and I'm curious about your take on Greta. She actually is very upset that everybody's focusing on that question and her answer. She said that it's unfair and that she wishes she had not asked the question. What do you make of that coming from the debate moderator?
It's ridiculous. I mean, we have debates so that we can find out more about the candidates, where they stand, and what their competency is. And that question, which high school students could answer, what the problem
Yeah.
with Taiwan and the issues with China and whether or not that's a national security threat. And by the way, just for her to say that that's not that big of a deal and not a big issue, and she wants to focus on domestic issues. Well, I'm sorry, as a South Carolinian, if you get us in a war and with China, which is probably the most likely war we get in, and our kids are sent overseas, suddenly that becomes a very big domestic issue that's hitting your kitchen table when your kid's gone to war. So I just think it's laughable for her to kind of spin it in that way. And I'm not sure what Greta's doing. It's so weird to see all of these establishment figures trying to carry water for Darlene. It's like, if the voters don't want her and she's not competent, guys, just stop. Like, let the voters decide, and let's make sure we get competent candidates, because we could potentially lose this seat. The Democrats have been salivating over flipping South Carolina seats for election cycle after election cycle. In fact, they spent more money against Lindsey Graham, I think it was 6 years ago, than they had ever spent in U.S. history for campaigns in the Senate. And so I wouldn't be surprised if the Democrat candidate, Annie Andrews, who's already taking full advantage of this massive gaffe, goes in and all the money comes in against Darlene. So there's also a risk of potentially losing this Senate seat in a hard year, election year for Republicans. I'm not willing to take that gamble, and I hope most South Carolinians aren't either.
Adam,
so we get out and vote for Ralph Norman.
Adam, I'm curious here. The president came out earlier today, said they're going to let 300,000 metric tons of beef be imported over the next 90 days. No tariffs. That foreign beef is going to be sold at, I think, 25% less than American beef. The U.S. Cattlemen's Association coming out and saying this is insanity. You've got the president saying, you know what, we're going to have to just deal with these higher gas prices right now. I'm curious. I mean, you've been in politics before. How do you see all of this playing out? Do you anticipate any of these moves having an impact on voter turnout in the midterm elections?
Well, I think if the elections were today, they would definitely impact. But I'm hoping and I'm confident. I mean, President Trump is a very adept person when it comes to campaigning and his competency in his office. So hopefully they'll be positioning rapidly, because the elections are coming very, very soon, to focus on those affordability issues and give more reassurance there. I would be very concerned if the elections were today. But we do have a little bit of runway, and the Republicans just broadly need to really hone their message on affordability. It's what everyone cares about right now. And I hope that they can have some better answers and reassure people more, because there's so much that this administration is doing that is fantastic. And we're winning in a lot of different areas. So you need to highlight those areas and also be making sure that the moves that we're making right now are actually dealing with those affordability issues, so that we can have a good showing come November.
Yeah, we're just off message right now. They got to get back on the messaging there. Adam, we're going to have to leave it there. We will be watching as the president hosts the rally today. And, of course, it is going to be a very closely watched race as well. Adam Morgan, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
All right. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we have got to get back on message here. The president has had a very successful 2 years, as I outlined in the golden age. But for some weird reason, the administration is off focus right now. There was a survey out. People are and the gist of the survey is that the American people say the president's focusing too much attention on all of the projects in Washington, D.C., the ballroom and the arch and all of the monuments and everything. Look, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. But if that is the only messaging coming out of the White House, you're struggling to pay your bills, and the president is holding a press conference outside the big, beautiful, new, huge helipad, then, yeah, there's going to be a disconnect there. Again, we need the helipad. I mean, that was a necessity. But the issue is about the optics, and it's always about the optics when it comes to politics. So as Adam said, we still have plenty of time. The election's in November, but we've got to start getting this economy turned around. The affordability issue is going to be a factor, and it is one right now, which is why the president made this dramatic move and allowed the foreigners to send their beef to America. All right, got to take a break. 901 888-260-5926. This is The Todd Stern Show.
Todd, would it be safe to say that Darlene Graham would be considered a DEI hire? You know, what happens if she wanted to be a surgeon? Just put her in the operating room because of who she knows? Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, all right. That's Mark from the Villages in Florida, America's friendliest hometown, and it's a great point he raises here is that Darlene Graham was appointed to the position because she was related to Lindsey Graham. Oh, by the way, you folks in the Villages, you can purchase copies of The Golden Age at your local Barnes & Noble there in the Villages. You folks that live there, you know exactly where that bookstore is, and they have plenty of copies of The Golden Age, How Trump Saved America. This story out of San Francisco. Sam Dojan was spending the afternoon in the park teaching his kids, his 6-year-old daughter and 9-year-old son, how to play tennis. They had just returned from a family trip to Hawaii, and he took the kids out for what he thought was going to be, I don't know, a nice afternoon. Just a father and his kids. A very quintessential American moment. So anyway, they were there at the Golden Gate Heights Park. About 20 minutes into the practice session, two San Francisco rangers, park rangers, came over and asked Mr. Dojan if he had a permit to teach tennis. Mr. Dojan was kind of shocked. According to the California Post, he said, "What are you talking about? These are my kids. We're just out here goofing around." One of the little, the son told the park rangers, "He's my daddy." They were going to give the guy a ticket. This is insane. This is bizarre. But one of the rangers told him that it's against the law to teach your kids how to play a sport in San Francisco using a city park. And the fine was nearly $200, $192. That's how much they were going to charge this guy. Mr. Dojan said this was nuts. He said it was just a surprise. Why even bother trying to disrupt a perfectly nice afternoon with a father and his two kids? Park rangers say they routinely check people to see if they have permits. What an insane story. This, ladies and gentlemen, is why you just cannot elect Democrats. They suck the fun out of everything. This is really just unbelievable. Wow. We'll be right back. edition of the Todd Starnes Radio Show. DJ Dell spinning the tunes. The only talk radio show in America with our own DJ. We need to give you a booth, Dylan.
I would love a booth. I just sit there with my hands pumping in the air, just
that's it.
Get the crowd
kind
crazy.
of like the drummers do now. In the churches, they put them in boxes.
Yeah, give me one of those.
Plexiglass. I love it. Hey, let's go to the Patriot Mobile Newsmaker line. Say hello to our good buddy, also rocking it out in California, Joe Messina, host of the Joe Messina Show. Joe, hope you're doing good today.
I'm doing great. Listen, I thought I had good music, man, but you got it going on. I may steal Dylan for you nights, and get some good music going on.
Yeah, you could, Dill, you could make a little side hustle out of all of this.
Hey, I charge by the hour, so.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh, ouch. A true capitalist. I love it.
Joe Messina, the brand new book, The Golden Age, How Trump Saved America, in bookstores nationwide. And I am proud to tell you, you, sir, are mentioned on pages 246 and 247.
Wow, I'm blessed. Thank you. Well, we'll have to have you on the show to talk about me in your book.
Yes, and I actually said nice things about you, by the way. So it's
I'll send a check tomorrow. We'll be good.
By the way, you folks in Santa Clarita, the nearest Barnes & Noble to you guys in Valencia, I don't even know where that is. That anywhere near you guys?
It's a couple miles from me, a couple miles right off the 5 freeway. So we'll get them there if you're going to show up.
All right. Yeah. Creekside Place they actually have books available at the Barnes & Noble there in Valencia. That's Creekside Place. So you folks, if you want to get a copy right now, you can go down to the Barnes & Noble and get yourself a copy of The Golden Age, How Trump Saved America. All right. Joe, we just had a story out of San Francisco. The California Post reporting on this. A poor guy going out to the local park with his 2 kids, and they're small kids, like 6 and 9, and he was just going to spend the afternoon teaching the kids how to play tennis. Park rangers show up and say, you can't do that. You have to have a permit to teach tennis, and the fine is like $200. And I guess they extended some grace. They didn't fine the guy. But the idea that you can't even go out in San Francisco and teach your kid how to play tennis or baseball, this is nuts.
No, this is California. I mean, I'm surprised that you're surprised. This is exactly what happens. I don't know if you remember the story about a year and a half ago where there was a church that was feeding homeless people in a San Diego park. And they were making the sandwiches in their kitchens at home. They would, put the food together, and then they would take it to the park and feed these poor people, who didn't have any food. They were rummaging through garbage pails. They shut it down, Todd. They told him, you can't do this. You have to have a health permit. You have to have a this and a that. I'm going, seriously? We can't feed people that we should have put the money through Newsom's pocket, and they would have been fine with it. But no, we see this stuff all over the place.
So the poor guy, his name is Mr. Dojan. He says he has to carry documentation with him, and he says, I'm going to have to get their birth certificates and carry them with me in my tennis bag just to prove they're my children. I'm not going to get a permit to teach my children.
Wow. Yeah, amazing, but not surprising. Seriously.
No, it's just shocking. Another story I'm curious about. This is from FoxNews.com, and I know that you're president of the school board there in Santa Clarita, one of the largest districts in the nation, in the state. The comptroller candidate, there's a guy named Herb Morgan.
Yep.
He's really upset because spending for education has gone from $97 billion in 2019 to $151 billion, and the kids are getting more stupid. Meanwhile, in Mississippi, for example, they started teaching, phonics again, and Mississippi is one of the highest-ranked schools when it comes to literacy and things of that nature. Herb here's got a big problem with what's going down in California. What say you?
I do too. I think he's look, I'm not making fun of the people in Mississippi, but I mean, seriously, California is supposed to be the most technology savvy state in the union, or we're supposed to have all these great teachers, and we have a lot of great teachers. We have a great education system, and we're failing big time. We get, I think in my district, it changes in different areas, but we get almost $14,000 per student. And the state puts these mandates on you to make it very, very hard to actually teach, number one. And number two, the curriculum is crud. I'll put it that way. So he's right. He's exactly right. We're spending a lot of money. We're not getting that bang for our buck. I'm not going to blame it all on the teachers like some people do. I'm going to blame it all on the state and the education system, what's coming down from the state, telling us what we have to teach the kids. Todd, we used to have an exit exam for high school. They took it in 10th grade, and I used to make fun of that, saying, okay, you got 2 more years. Why are we giving it 10th grade to see where these kids are at? We no longer have an exit exam. You get out whether you can read, write, speak English, whether you can add 2 plus 3, you're going to graduate high school if you have enough credits. And even getting credits isn't that hard to do anymore. So it's the state fails big time on education, but we're probably close to number 1 in what we spend per student.
Well, it's just insanity, and again, this video that went viral a few days ago, the poor guy in Texas, the school teacher, weeping because his high school kids don't know how to read or write. I mean, this is a complete failure of the children of America, and also moms and dads, because quite frankly, moms and dads, you need to be teaching your kids how to read and write before they step foot in school.
And I'll go one step further with it. Yeah, they should be doing that, but you also should be engaged in your child's education. Find out what they're teaching, find out what they're learning, ask them questions. You don't have to interrogate them, but sit down and watch them do their homework or whatever it takes for you to feel comfortable. Todd, I got stuck in that trap with my youngest son. They were moving him along, but there was just something that wasn't right. And so I used to have my kids read books with few pages in it, and then I would talk to them on Saturday about, okay, what'd you read this week? What did you? He couldn't read. He was in 6th grade, and he literally couldn't read. And they told me when I questioned them on it and brought it to their attention, they tried to tell me he was at grade level, but he was in 6th grade reading at a 4th grade level. And they tried to tell me, well, some kids are just, D plus C minus kids. You're going to have to come to that conclusion. Said he can't read. He couldn't even tell whether he was a C plus or a D minus student on his report card. He can't read. That's what we have. That's what we're up against here in this state.
Joe Messina joining us on our Patriot Mobile Newsmaker line today. Joe, I want to switch gears. I want to play some audio. There's a new debate that has surfaced over the difference between tipping and gratuities. And there's a lady who went on TikTok, and she identifies herself as a waitress. And here's what she had to say.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another day in the life as a waitress. I just want to let everybody know that gratuity is not a tip. Gratuity is gratuity, and a tip is a tip. Let me explain. Gratuity is often split between all the waitresses depending on where you work. Out of that gratuity, the waitress has to pay the bartender, the person making your drink. Out of that gratuity, the server also has to pay the barback, who are the people who come and help clean up, make sure the tables stay clean. So when I give somebody a receipt and they look at me and they say, oh, gratuity is included, I say gratuity is included, but a tip is not. Gratuity is gratuity and a tip is a tip. And if gratuity isn't solely going to the person who's serving you and your server is treating you right, making sure you have everything, keeping your space clean, being responsive, and just, being a great server, then you should tip your server. And if you can't afford to tip, then you shouldn't be out. Plain and simple.
Joe, what do you say about that?
Our education system has failed us tremendously. That's what I say about that. But no, I mean, look, I don't know how forcing this. I really don't know who sat her down, but and I know a lot of servers. I know a lot of waitresses and waiters. No, the tip is the tip. And if she decides, unless the restaurant forces it, I know that that happens in some cases. But if she decides that the busboy, the bartender, the whatever is part of that whole thing, then so be it. But no, I'm sorry. The tip is the tip, and I'm one of those guys that I tip accordingly. So if I don't see you, you come by the table one time for the whole meal, you get about $1. But if you're giving me fantastic service, I am that guy that'll give you, 10, 15, $20 if you're really attentive and make sure that, we're taken care of.
This is mind-boggling to me. First of all, what the restaurants are now doing, and so the gratuity is they'll add that. So if, like, say you have 4 or 5 people in your party, they'll add the gratuity in. So you're forced to pay that, which is, 15 to 20%. And then she's expecting a tip on top of the mandatory gratuity that the restaurant adds in. And people are wondering, why these restaurants are going out of business, it seems to me this is the reason why.
Well, it's one of them because here in California, as you know, minimum wage now for these people, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but minimum wage for these services is $20 and $21 an hour, and going up from there. And the restaurants, they work on a slim margin to begin with, and if you're a mom and pop restaurant, you got your own paycheck sitting in a drawer waiting to cash them.
Oh, yeah.
So you're right. There's a lot of places that are closing. One of my favorite pizza joints near me is closing down. They can't afford all the fees and the regulations from the state of California. It's a bad place to have a food business, especially. So you're right. I mean, it's making it hard for people to go out and eat. It's making it hard for food businesses to stay open.
Dylan, do you tip?
I do tip.
Are you a good tipper? What kind of a tipper are you?
I tip at least 20%.
Oh.
If it's a good service, then
Yeah.
I'll go higher.
So, guys, I'm at the Corky's drive-thru, and Corky's one of our, it's not my favorite barbecue joint here, but, when you're in a pinch, when Tom's Barbecue runs out of pork, still waiting to figure out how that happened. I go to Corky's, and so I'm in the drive-thru, guys. I'm in the drive-thru, place my order, give them my card, I get it back to sign, and there's a place for me to leave a tip in drive-thru. What? Is that like a thing now?
What about when you go to the coffee shop? I don't frequent Starbucks. I go to the smaller ones, but there's times where I have a client that wants to meet at a Starbucks, and you go in there, and when the little electronic device that they have you use all the time now, it pops up. Now I'm standing there. I'm putting my card in there, right? I'm placing the order verbally, and they want me to put a tip in there for all the work I did.
No. I know exactly what you're talking about. I was getting some iced tea. It was a $2 iced tea, okay? A $2 iced tea, and it gave you the option of a $1 tip. I'm tipping half the price of the iced tea.
Oh, 50. All right, 50%. We're good. So anyhow, no, I will tip somebody. It doesn't matter what it is. Whether I go to the car wash or what have you. I'm one of those. I'm a merit tipper. How do you like that?
It just angers me. It makes me unhappy. It really makes me regret going out to eat. If they're just nickel and diming you. So when you look at that, like say if it's a $20 burger, all right, and if you're going to go out to a nice restaurant like a Ruth's Chris, you're going to order a burger. You're going to pay a good price for it. But then by the time you get finished with all of the additional fees, you're looking at a $30 or $40 burger.
No kidding. Hey, I was at an event a couple of weekends ago where they had a basic hot dog and hamburger. We used to call them roach coaches, right? Food truck. Anyway, I got there a basic cheeseburger with lettuce and tomato, mustard, ketchup, and a small thing of fries, and it was $14.
Good.
I was waiting for the stock certificate. I'm standing there grabbing my hamburger. $14.
My word. All right. Well, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Joe Messina. Joe, what's coming up on the big show tonight?
Well, thank you. Well, tonight I've got a guy coming on, an expert actually in the field of where we're still having a problem with fentanyl here in California. We're still seeing the deaths happen here in California. And our buddy Brad Dacus is going to join us to talk about how to fight the state on the he, she, me, them, thus, and all that from the teachers have to use.
Ooh, that sounds fun. All right. Well, the great Joe Messina, joemessina.com. Go check out Joe's great website. Joe, hope you have a great weekend.
Thanks, you, Todd. God bless, man. Have a great weekend.
All right. I guess the question is, Dylan, do you tip and drive through?
No, I'm just going to go ahead and put that out. Why would you do that?
Exactly.
Who are you tipping at that point?
I don't know.
Like, is the tip going to the cook, like straight back, or is it going to the cashier?
I don't know. That's
what I would ask.
Why exactly am I tipping you?
Yeah,
because
the sweet tea is crazy, by the way.
Can you believe that?
Aren't they just pouring it from the little
That's
thing?
Unless
they made it themselves. And then sure.
It's designer. What are you going to do? It's like a coffee shop. All right, fine. I'm paying for the ambiance, but really I'm tipping 50%. That's what I'm expected to do here. Or the tip is more than the actual beverage itself.
That's rough.
Sure. Yeah, I gotcha. I'm curious, ladies and gentlemen, do you tip at drive-thru? 901-260-5926. We'll be right back. All right, Dylan, you're going to have to give me some education here on our bumper music.
This is Lonely for You, Baby by Sam Dees.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
One of our listeners called this in, and this is quite a good suggestion, if I say so.
Oh, I love this. It's got a really nice vibe to it.
Yeah, we're vibing.
Wow, Sam D's 80 years old. This guy. Got the groove going on.
I don't know if I've ever heard of Sam Dees.
Yeah.
Is this making me uncultured?
Well, no, educate yourself. He was a big soul singer and born in Birmingham, Alabama. So
wow.
Big Alabama guy.
Close by.
Mm-hmm. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it's real simple. If you've got a favorite song or something you'd like to hear on the radio, well, we're spinning tunes. They don't even do that on the rock stations, right? Back in the day, Dylan, you actually used to, I don't know if anybody remembers this, but you could call in and request a song to be played.
I've been alive during that time. That's true. I've gotten to do that. They didn't play it. But...
They don't do it anymore. You know why? Because everything's automated, and a lot of the voices on these rock stations are all like AI.
It's not live. It's not a live show anymore.
I don't like that. I don't like it one bit. So anyway, again, ladies and gentlemen, just shoot us a call, 901-260-5926 if you want to hear some music on the show. Coming up, Caleb Park is going to be joining us with a lot of great, crazy stories. Looking forward to that conversation. We're going to be at the First Baptist Church in Dallas on Sunday for both worship services in the morning, and afterwards we'll be signing copies of The Golden Age, How Trump Saved America. Look forward to seeing you in Dallas on Sunday. And the following Sunday, we're going to be in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, at Franklin Road Baptist Church. So we're hitting the road, folks. It's going to be a lot of fun. By the way, this segment of the program brought to you by our friends at Newsmax. Millions agree with President Trump, and they're switching to Newsmax, watching great shows with Greta, Carl Higbee, Rob Schmidt, and Finnerty. So if you're tired of big media, start watching Newsmax. It's free to start. Go to newsmaxplus.com. That's newsmaxplus.com for immediate access. You're also going to get access to all sorts of wonderful documentaries as well. That's newsmaxplus.com. Once you start, you will not stop. newsmaxplus.com. All right, hang tight, everybody. Got to take a quick break. This is the Todd Stearns Radio Show. All right, it is hour 3 of the Todd Stearns Radio Show. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for making us your home, noon to 3 Eastern, for great conservative conversation. We like to have a little bit of fun today on Fridays, Open Line Friday. We're going to talk about whatever you want to talk about. Write down our number, 901-260-5926. Also, DJ Dill is ready to spin the tune, so if you've got a song recommendation, you can call him with that as well. In the last hour of the program, we were talking about this sort of new controversy, a waitress going on TikTok and explaining that there's a difference between a gratuity and a tip, and if you can't afford to tip, then you should not be eating out. Well, I want to go to the phone lines. David in Memphis, Tennessee, listening to us on our flagship station. All right, David, so were you a waiter? Is that the knowledge you're bringing into the conversation here?
Well, actually, no. My nephew, when he worked his way through college being a waiter, and he's told me a lot of different stories. And, like, for instance, you talk about the gratuity on the parties. They put them gratuities, like, on 6 or more because nowadays, and he's experienced it himself, and it was very disappointing before they did it at the restaurant he worked at. Groups of people would come in there, and he'd, work his butt off, great service, and they would leave little to nothing. And when he could have been working the small table, actually making some money. So that's one reason why they put a gratuity on, on parties. And as far as that girl talking about paying the folks, just like the guy he's talking to, the other radio guy, he's right. It's your choice to give those folks your gratuity. It's not mandatory that I've ever heard of, But that's basically what I wanted to say.
Yeah, look, I normally tip the bill. So I just do that. If the service is really good, whatever the bill is, I'll just tip that. And, and I don't think anything of it. What bothers me is when they write in those amounts for you, because, again, I think that should always be the diner's decision, and their choice to make. I get it, though, with all the, I sort of understand the gratuity with those large groups because there have been so many of these reports of people just altogether skipping out on the bill. They just get up and they walk out and leave.
Well, I'm for gratuities. I'm a big tipper and everything I do. There is I forget the name of the restaurant. I won't even name it if I knew it, but it's down in Bartlett by the railroad tracks. It's a breakfast restaurant. I went in there once and I walked out because the food they supposedly supposed to be good, but they had gratuity. It's already had high prices there, and they had gratuity even on the to-go orders.
Wow.
Everything had a gratuity. And I don't agree with that. If you're going to force me to pay something when, in those instances, especially to-go orders and stuff, well, I'm not going to get my business.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. All right, David, thank you for the call, and thank you for listening. Appreciate that. Want to go right away to our Patriot Mobile Newsmaker line and say hello to our good friend, the great journalist, Caleb Park. Caleb, hope you're doing good today. Host of The Good Report with Caleb Park.
Hey, Todd, I am doing great today. I don't know if you can see that God Bless America sign behind me, but I just put that up right before I jumped on with you. And I just got this copy right here of The Golden Age, How Trump Saved America by the one and only Todd Stearns. I did not know that my name was going to be on the cover either, so my endorsement on the back. Thank you so much for allowing that. Want to encourage everybody, go out, get a copy at your local bookstore, and if Todd's in your area, make sure you get it signed. So Todd, I got to get this one signed by you.
Yeah, no, look, this is very cool, and your endorsement is right there with Pastor Jack Hibbs, Robert Jeffress, the President of the United States, and Caleb Park.
Good company. I will every day be glad to be counted with those guys. So,
actually, I was checking the index here. You're actually mentioned in one of the chapters as well. I was looking at the index 186. You're on page 186, Caleb.
Oh,
so
186. Okay. Well, I'll bookmark that, highlight it, and maybe do some reading.
A little bit of light reading. So Caleb Park, one of the great early endorsers of the Golden Age, and we really appreciate that, Caleb. By the way, I want you to weigh in here on the controversy over these gratuities. I just think if you're at the drive-thru, you should not be tipping. I just don't understand why we're doing that.
Yeah, Todd, I feel like it's a social tax at this point where it's like if you've got, Americans, we're generous people. We love to be generous. We love to support others. And at this point, it's every time you're tipping and you see those numbers and they're staring at you like, oh, you just gotta fill that out. And it's like they're looking at you and you're like, um, what are the drive-through is the most ridiculous one. But, when you're getting a to-go order like the caller just said from Memphis, I'd have to agree with, him. It's when you're getting it to go, they're not doing anything extra, unless they're, like, giving you, a massage or something or helping you carry it out to your, car, like at Chick-fil-A or something,
Okay,
but,
this just turned
yeah,
weird. Yeah. I'm not sure
the
I wanna get a
tipping has gotten out of control.
I'm not sure I wanna get a massage at a Corky's. I'm just gonna tell you. Ease up on the
Yeah,
barbecue sauce, ma'am.
I gotta retract that one.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that that was a bad example.
All right, Caleb Park with the neon sign talking about massages, joining us from Florida
Oh,
today.
dear. Not a good look, is it?
No, it's terrible. But let's move on. You've been weighing in on this Sophie Cunningham story out of the WNBA. Is this true that you've started watching the WNBA because of Sophie Cunningham?
I I mean, I didn't really wanna admit that, Todd, but yes, it is true. I started watching the NBA, and I've been watching the Fever games. She's so much fun to watch, follow on social media. She just turned 30 years old. She was singing, a song at a bar. She's just a light in a place, that can be kinda, boring and dark, and, yeah, watching her on the field, she's one of the highest three-point shooters in the league, and so that's fun because she sinks a lot of threes, and yeah, right now, a lot of people support her. She just got a, deal with a coconut water brand, so you're gonna see me drinking more coconut water in the next couple days, and I'm down here in South Florida, so it's perfect.
Well, there you go. Caleb, I want to bring into the conversation Lisa, who's listening to us in Gainesville, Georgia on WDUN. Lisa, you're on the air with me and Caleb Park. What's on your mind?
Well, I just wanted to say two quick things. During the China virus, when I would go through a drive-through, I usually gave the kid or the adult a tip because I appreciated them working during that time we had lockdowns. And then there's a certain drive-through I go through early in the morning, and this woman works there. And as soon as I hear her voice, she is so pleasant. She obviously it has a job like you and me where you have to make money. She makes my morning so happy, and I know she has some struggles. And every time I give her a $5 bill, it's just a nice thing to do. She makes my day. She's positive. She wants to be at work. I like that.
Lisa, I like that too. And Caleb, Caleb covers all these good stories. Caleb, you ought to offer like a tipping box there on your website.
Well, and I was gonna say, Lisa, you're the type of person that, we like to highlight, and you're the everyday American that truly is the reason that we have tipping and that we're so generous because you're giving people, that support. And so thank you for doing that. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm with you. I think the flip side is when it gets ridiculous, but people like you are what gives me hope and what makes tipping, you know, a fun thing to do, like Todd said.
All right. Well done, Lisa. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Tom in Houston, Texas, listening to us on Patriot Talk 920. All right, Tom, what say you?
Well, Todd, on the tipping, I am the guy who, if I got bad service, I would tip 1 or 2 cents just to let them know I saw the line on there before all these digital tablets started showing up, back when you got a paper receipt. But now if I get a good service, you're going to get a good tip. And I'm going to open up a can of worms on you. We like to cruise 2 to 3 times a year. And the big item on the cruise boats now is this, what do you call it? Obligatory tipping. anywhere from $18 to $24 per day per person in your cabin. And I'm the guy, I go down and I remove my tips and I give tips myself in an envelope to my service people. Last time we were on the cruise, at the main dining room, we have a team, an actual waiter who takes the order, and the other 3 people serviced our table. I gave them the $150 at the end of a 7-day cruise.
Okay.
And I really don't think that's too terribly much. I wouldn't say that was incredible, but and then our room steward, he got $100. So I am not against tipping. I'm against foolish tipping.
Yeah, Tom, I'm with you on that. And again, it should be left up to the individual. I think that's ultimately what the issue I have. But the idea that I'm sitting in a drive-through and you're expecting a tip from me, I don't think that's going to happen, Tom.
Yeah, and Todd, I did leave a private message with the DJ for you. So you need to get together once the show's over and you've had 2 or 3 lattes. Get with the DJ.
All right. Thank you for that, Tom. All right. Thanks for calling in. I'm kind of nervous about that one. Caleb, no doubt this is an issue. I think just a lot of people, they want to be able to go out and they do want to do the right thing here. They just don't want to have to pay more in the tip than they actually pay for their meal, I think.
Yeah, and I'd have to disagree with Tom a little bit. He said it wasn't a very generous tip. That was a super generous tip for the staff there. And so, I think a lot of times people don't like to toot their horn. Tom, great job.
All right, good stuff.
But I think why people are upset about the tipping is because it's sneaky. There's this pressure, and sometimes it'll be like, oh, there's a tip, and then there's a service charge, and it's like you're like, wait, what does each thing mean? And then now you have waitresses claiming that gratuity and tipping are different. So I don't know, Todd. I don't know what the answer really is.
All right. Before we let you go, Caleb, big question about who should replace Caroline Leavitt. She's leaving the Trump administration. She has done a brilliant job as press secretary. I'm just going to run through the list here. Who do you like? Scott Jennings.
I do like him. He goes viral on social media for a lot of his takedowns on the CNN panels. So I think it would be interesting to see him at the podium.
You see, I don't think he's a Trump guy. I really don't. And he gets upset when you mock his teammates over at CNN. And that's a big red flag for me. So, all right, we'll put a question mark beside Jennings. Elena Haba, what do you think about Elena?
Well, she already said that she's probably not going to be the pick, but I do think she looks the part, has defended Trump in court. She would be a good pick. She got 2 thumbs up from me.
All right. I've also heard about Fox News correspondent Alexis McAdams, not very well known.
Yeah. So she did get the green light from Trump when he was interviewing her. I think it was a little tongue in cheek, but I think she would probably do. I don't know, because she's a reporter, so we actually don't really know what her opinion is. And if we're being honest, Todd, I think that the person that's going to be the next White House correspondent or White House press secretary is probably going to come from inside the White House, because Trump really likes loyalty, and somebody that's been with him. Caroline Leavitt was somebody that was by his side every step of the way from the campaign to the White House, and she's done a phenomenal job. I think whether or not you're a Democrat, Republican, I think everybody can agree she's done an excellent job, especially as the youngest press secretary that we've had, and raising 2 young kids.
There has also been some speculation that there's somebody else that could be in the mix. I've seen a photograph of this individual behind the White House podium there in the press briefing room, holding actually one of these iced matchas, one Caleb Park. Can you confirm that you could be up for the job?
Well, Todd, I will say this. I'm not closing any doors here. And if President Trump calls me, I will answer. And you can check out that photo on my social media at Caleb Park.
At Caleb Park. All right, Caleb, we're going to have to leave it there, my friend. What do you got cooking? Where do you want to send people if they want to get more information about you?
Yeah, follow me on social media. It's Caleb Park with an E and calebpark.com. I've got a new episode on my podcast with a pastor, and he owns a global mission organization, John Kim. I'll be releasing that episode soon, and I'll be posting about the book that I got from Todd. So be looking for that review soon, guys. Follow me there, and congratulations, Todd. This is huge.
Caleb, thank you again. Always fun having you on, and lots of good laughter and good news as well. Caleb Park, everybody, on our Patriot Mobile Newsmaker line. And again, you can read all about Caleb in the Golden Age. Be sure to get a copy at your favorite bookstore. You can also find a copy at Amazon as well. All right, we've got to take a quick break here, folks. Our telephone number, 901 260 5926. Again, that number, 901 260 5926. This is The Todd Stern Show. All right, let's go to Ocala, Florida. Richard is listening to us on WOCA. Hi, Richard. What's on your mind today?
Thanks for taking my call, Mr. Todd. One thing on the tipping, occasionally I'll tip at the drive-through when if they're friendly and nice, and you like to tip on that. But something that does bother me is when they bring your bill and it gives you 2 or 3 options. It's like they're demanding it out of you, and that's not what a tip is for. A tip is you're tipping for good service. If the service is mediocre, you might only tip 10% or 12. If it's nice service, you might go from 15 to 20. You know what I'm saying? But it's like they're even showing you can give as much as 25, and to me, that's no taste. That's poor taste. We're turning into a entitlement society. We're beggars and bums. We're turning into beggars and bums, and it bothers me. And then another issue, if I can mention, on Trump's endorsements, I'm disappointed in Mr. Trump with his North Carolina endorsement. I'm very disappointed in his Florida endorsement. That Mr. Collins and Mr. Paul Renner, both of them was excellent conservative choices that has proven where they stand and what they'll do for the conservative Florida. And this guy Trump endorsed was a transplant. He moved in here from New York, and he used to be a Democrat at one time.
Richard, I am right there with you. It's been a little bit aggravating to see some of these endorsements coming down, no doubt about it. Richard, I'm going to have to leave it there, and thank you for listening. By the way, you folks in Ocala, the Barnes & Noble College Road, they've got copies of The Golden Age. Same thing over at the Villages, Lake Sumter Landing. They've got plenty of copies there as well. All right, hang tight, everybody. We'll be right back. Tom in Houston, Texas, listening to us on Patriot Talk 920. Hey, Tom, what's on your mind?
Well, I hear you talking about getting the disciplinary actions in school. Well, I was lucky. I got to go to Catholic school.
Oh, boy.
And in the 4th grade, there were a few of us in the boys' room doing stuff we shouldn't have been doing. And the headmaster, principal, whatever you call, was Sister Gracilia. And she was from Germany, about 6'2" and 210 to 230 pounds. We called her Sister Gorilla. And she carried us into the office, and all of us she had that board, with the holes cut in it.
Oh, the Board of Education, yeah.
Yeah, like Swiss cheese, And, boy, she did a number on us, I'll tell you that.
Kind of like a German version of Medea.
Okay, yeah.
She put the shut to the up.
And now there's another thing. I talked to the lady yesterday and asked her to pass along to the music man there. We need to get some ZZ Top on the break because, good old Frank Beard, he left us Monday.
You're right.
He was the drummer, and he was the only guy in ZZ Top that did not have a beard. But I want to suggest the song Outlaw X. Do you know what that song is, Todd?
Tom, I do not. I'm not a big ZZ Top guy, but I'll pass that along to Dylan.
You'll enjoy it because it refers to the illegal radio station that used to be out in the Gulf Coast and down in Mexico.
Oh.
Back on the AM dial when they would blast 700,000 watts of power.
Oh, geez, Lord.
And could be heard all over the country. This is where Wolfman Jack got his bones made back in the day, and they would blast on these super powerful AM radios that were illegal in the United States. Well, they just took them to Mexico. That's all they did.
Well, Tom, I'll tell you what, we're gonna get that in the mix. DJ Dill is gonna be spinning tunes tomorrow on the show. So we'll be sure to get that into the mix, and I sure do appreciate you calling in. What did he call the nun gorilla?
What got me is he said she carried them into the office. I'm thinking, did she physically pick them up?
I guarantee she or dragged them.
Yeah, just trying to imagine that.
Those Catholic nuns, we were terrified of them, and we're Baptist.
It's true.
All right, let's go to the Patriot Mobile Newsmaker line. Say hello to our good friend Kyle Campbell, host of the Politically Basic podcast, and you can follow Kyle on Instagram and TikTok, all over the place. Kyle, hope you're doing well.
I am doing well because the kids are back in school, sir. I hope you're doing well too.
Yeah, so we were just sharing this story out of Detroit, and Kyle, apparently they have a problem with truancy, and so now they're going to pay the kids $100 a week if they have perfect attendance. $100 a week. Back when I was a kid, we had a mom with a frying pan to make sure we went to class.
Well, I don't know what they're doing. It sounds a little backwards, but I do know that the truancy is an issue. The disciplinary, duties have been passed on to now the teachers, so the parents don't want to do it. They dump the kids off at school and say, "You guys deal with it." So I don't know. Maybe it's going to work. We'll see. But I don't know how far $100 is going to go these days. These kids might be over it. We'll see.
We've been following this story out of Massachusetts, this horrible story of the mom, Lindsay Clancy, who admits to killing her 3 children. And for me, I mean, it's just a horrible story all around. But Kyle, what's even more shocking are the number of women who are outside the courtroom, and they're defending this woman. They're cheering for her. I want to play some audio of some of the ladies that are out there defending Lindsay Clancy, cut 31.
One of my sister-in-laws, it could be one of my best friends, and it could be me. So just here to support.
We are hearing her. We see that she tried everything, and I really do believe that she went into a state of psychosis.
I feel like the system failed her. She was begging for help, but no one was there. I don't know if us being here will make her feel any better, but I mean, she's living in hell right now.
So I'm not sure, if we're supposed to be comforted in the fact that these women are out there saying, well, it could have been me. I could have killed my kids. If I'm the kids, I'm like locking the door at nighttime. That's crazy stuff.
It's crazy, but I'm actually not surprised, Todd, that this is striking such a chord with women across the country. When you really look into what happens to mothers when they give birth, the postpartum care that you receive is almost non existent. I think this case is really bringing out people's disappointment with the medical community in, of course, how they handled Lindsay Clancy, a woman who did ask for help, who did express feelings that should have been, she should have been dealt with. There were a number of times along her history where she spoke to someone about it, and there were failure after failure in getting her the help that she needed. It is shocking to see all these women say these things, but I think it really comes back to, having the medical community take a look here. It's not just that you have a baby and you're fine, or you have postpartum depression or psychosis. There is a range of emotional regulation that has to happen, hormonal regulation that has to happen, and we're just not addressing it in this country. So this case is horrific. It seems like she did what she's told the defense and told the judge and this jury that she's done, and but I think there's a lot to learn from this, and that's what we're hearing from all of these women who are supporting her.
Well, if there was, and we had a caller earlier who suggested that maybe the medicine she was on may have, contributed to this, and this is medicine that some of the school killers, these mass shooting people, have been taking. And I don't know about that, but if that is the case, then I think we need to start taking a long, hard look at those people, too. There needs to be accountability within the pharmaceutical industry as well. I just think this country is far too medicated for its own good. And you have to wonder, okay, do we start holding those people accountable as well?
I think you're spot on right there, Todd. I think we are completely over-medicated. I was going to use that exact terminology. And two, these are medications being prescribed from different doctors. So where is the, guidance? Where is the do no harm medical ethics of this in terms of just catching these issues, or anyone in this woman's life who checked the medicine cabinet? Where was her husband in this? And I think that's also where he is coming into play, and people are scrutinizing his actions, right? Is how did you let it get to this point? Weren't you ever worried? So it's bringing up a lot of good points. I think you're exactly right, though. We've got to scale this back.
All right. Another story we've been following. This is Sean Duffy, our transportation secretary. He and Rachel Campos Duffy, Fox News host, they actually met doing reality TV, years ago. And anyway, they're doing some sort of a reality TV thing now. This is a conversation that Duffy's having with his daughter. She wants to go to Harvard, and he says, not going to happen. Cut 30, please.
Can't say no.
To Harvard?
Yeah.
Well, me and Mom can say no.
Catholicism, to us, is everything. It's the basis of our marriage. It's the basis of our family. So I'm nervous about the idea of Paloma going to Harvard. We spend a lot of time nurturing and providing formation for our kids, giving them an environment where they are steeped in faith and values. And so the idea of dropping her off at a place that would undermine that or try to undo all those things makes me worried.
And again, I don't want them to get one viewpoint. I want them to get a lot of different viewpoints. But I don't want them fed only one viewpoint that's contrary to the way my kids were raised. Listen, my problem is we have thought about how we raised you and how hard we've worked to, I think, raise what is a remarkable young girl. If I send you there, I think what happens is they have professionalized figuring out how they can take good young girls like you and, I think, corrupt their minds. You don't have to believe what I believe. You don't have to have the political viewpoints that I have. But I do think it's important that you make those choices for yourself and you have a fair representation of what they are. And I don't think the Harvards of the world give you that kind of well-rounded picture.
Kyle, what do you think about that?
Well, I think they're right. And sadly, our institutions of higher education, particularly the Ivy Leagues that have a ton of money and tend to certainly lean more liberal, they have become in recent years these sort of indoctrination camps. I think the Duffys are spot on. They're media savvy people, right? Like you, Todd, they get it. They've been in that world and they can see and have access to things that maybe other parents thinking, wow, Harvard, you're going to get a great degree. You're going to have all these doors open to you. I think they can see past that. And they know how vulnerable our kids' minds are. Even if you've had all of the great foundations at home, you have a father in the administration, they can still get to you. So I think they're really wise to do that. Plus it's expensive as stink. And who wants to pay $100,000 a year to have your kids completely unwound from all of that good teaching that you've brought them up with?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to have sweet, beautiful Paloma coming home from, fall break, and now she's a man who goes by the name Paul. I mean, nobody wants to see that. It's no,
true.
but it's true. I get it. Before we let you go, I was in Southern California, and I was speaking at Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills, and then went up that evening to Lancaster Baptist Church, which is in the high desert in the same area of Southern California. So it was like super hot and humid in Chino Hills. But when I got up to Lancaster and got out of my car, it was like 120 degrees. I don't know how you guys survive there, Kyle. I don't get that.
Well, I grew up near there. So you do adjust, but you can't go back. You can't just pop in. It's not like your body's not used to that humidity that you get where you live all the time, Todd. But I will say, I streamed that service there at Lancaster Baptist. I loved it. I loved that our friend Pastor Chappell gave you the good microphone and you sounded wonderful on it.
Oh, you were watching.
I need you to prep a little bit better for the next time you come out and see us. It's one of the beautiful things about California. We have every single climate here. We want you ready for all of them on your next visit. That's your homework.
And I say that because it's like 104 degrees here in Memphis. It is so hot and oppressively humid. And someone just posted a photograph. They're literally driving their car with wearing oven mittens. And I love this.
Yes.
What a great idea.
Yeah, it's survival mode for sure. Well, I wish you great safety and cool air conditioning, my friend.
Well, thank you. And no, we're going to be back. I'll be speaking at Lancaster later in September. We're bringing the book tour to the high desert there and the Antelope Valley. And, of course, this coming Friday, we're going to be at First Baptist Church, Dallas, Texas, our good friend Robert Jeffress. So it's really a lot of fun to meet so many of our great listeners and readers all over the country. Kyle, always fun having you on the show.
Always love being on the show. Thanks for having me, and I know I'll see you soon.
All right. There you go, folks. Kyle Campbell, host of the Politically Basic podcast. Be sure to check out all of her great work and her podcast. I want to go back to this story out of Massachusetts, Lindsay Clancy. And Dylan, can you imagine, though? You're sitting there, and these women are being interviewed for TV. Can we just play that clip again, cut 31?
One of my sister-in-laws, it could be one of my best friends, and it could be me. So just
okay, stop right there. So this woman is saying, yeah, my sister-in-law could have knocked off her 3 kids, or my neighbors, or even me. I could have killed my kids. Imagine you're sitting there after family dinner and you're in the living room and you're watching TV and you hear your mother say that she could possibly have killed you.
I would be a little bit terrified of mommy at that point.
Right? I'm locking I'm changing the locks on the bedroom door. I mean, at that point you're wondering, all right, what was that funny taste in the spaghetti? I don't think that was oregano.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But to show you, though, I mean, again, this is a generation of women who are slap crazy nuts. They've been ruined. They've been ruined by the education system. They've been ruined by culture and society. I want you to listen. These women are going out into the woods, and they are having what they call rage retreats. These are women. I want you to listen to this. Cut 32. I feel scared. Oh, my Lord. Are they beating each other with sticks?
Get
Dylan, I'm scared.
That's got to be what hell sounds like.
Hold on.
It's got to be.
Hold on. Woman, go make me a sandwich. Yeah, that'll do it. Where's my laundry, woman? Oh, God. That's not good. Where's my Trump hat? Stop. We got to take a break. We'll be right back.
Can't hear the whole show? Don't worry. Get the Toddcast and listen on your own time at toddstarnes.com.
From fruits and veggies to fiber and spice, Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Well, I stopped taking it for a while, and then it dawned on me, so I started taking it again. And I don't know, I like it. I mean, I love them. I'm never going to stop taking them. And I've got a friend that's coming over here. I'm giving her a little bit for her to go try.
I love the product. I wouldn't be without it. You know, ever since I started that product, I remember seeing an ad way back. That's what convinced me. I tried it, and I've been a believer. Nothing compares with it, so I'm a lifer with it. I'm not going to change.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code TODD.
Hey, Todd Starnes here. Every day, Americans make choices that shape our country's future, right down to which cell phone provider we support. Now, here's what a lot of people don't realize. Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless provider. They're an activist organization funded by selling top-tier cell phone service, and they've been on the front lines defending our freedom long before it was cool, standing in the gap when others would not. And the best part is they deliver prioritized premium service on all three major U.S. networks. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you help grow a movement that fuels the Christian conservative cause. Every bill you pay helps advance the values of faith, family, and freedom. And switching is easier than ever. Activated minutes. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Take a stand today. Go to patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code Todd for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Todd. Call 972-PATRIOT. Make the switch today.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
Or just simply making time for people. A neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Smokey the Bear. Then you know why Smokey tells you when he sees you passing through. Remember, please be careful, it's the least that you can do.
What you desire, don't play with matches, don't play with fire.
After 80 years of learning his wildfire prevention tips, Smokey Bear lives within us all. Learn more at smokeybear.com. And remember,
only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
let's try to work in a quick call here. Dawsonville, Georgia. John, listening to us on WDUN. Hi, John. What's on your mind?
Hey, Todd, I was wanted to say about this postpartum syndrome. When did that become a thing? Because, I mean, I'm 70 years old, and I don't ever remember hearing anything about that when I was growing up. And my mom had 7 kids, and all my aunts had 3 or more kids.
And they didn't kill them?
No, and all my sisters had 3 or more kids, and my wife's had 3 kids, and it's like, when did that become a big thing?
I think right around peanut allergies and maybe the gluten-free stuff. Because you're right, I don't remember any of this when I was a kid. I will say this, that they say it's very rare, that it is a thing, but it is incredibly rare for a woman to go through something like that and after she gives birth. So but again, I'm with you. I never heard about those kinds of things, growing up as a kid.
Yeah, me either. No peanut allergies, none of that stuff.
No, isn't that weird? I was wondering about that because now just about everybody's got a peanut allergy. And I know this because I'm on enough airplane flights where you're not allowed to eat peanuts and they make the announcement. And I've always wondered because when I was a kid, honest to goodness, I think everybody ate peanut butter and jelly. And everybody seemed to be well. I don't recall anybody keeling over, but
I don't know what the world's coming to, Todd.
It's coming to an end, my friend, according to the book of Revelation. It's coming to an end. John, thank you for that call. Dylan, who are we going to get the most angry phone calls from? The peanut allergy people or the gluten-free crowd?
Something tells me it's the gluten-free crowd.
You see,
I know.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah. Or the cyclist. Bicycle.
Oh, my gosh. Don't mess with those folks.
Oh, we've got to talk about that tomorrow. I actually angered the cycling community.
They come in groups, Todd. You can't mess with them.
No. I'm not sure what they've got, but they rage. Rage. All right, folks, we're going to leave it there tomorrow. Open Line Friday. Sunday, First Baptist Church, Dallas. Hope to see you there. Lord knows I need to go to church. Have a good one, everybody.
The flood of people, at least 10 million illegals, have poured into this country.
Has the American dream disappeared, or is it waiting to be rebuilt? This weekend, the America 250 film series presents Return of Our American Dream. Hear the stories that confront decline, restore hope, and call Americans back to opportunity, work, family, and freedom. Saturday and Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern on Salem News Channel.
At a time when technology is often used to distort the truth, there's a new tool that's actually getting it right. My Faith Assistant is a Bible-based AI designed to help you understand God's Word and grow spiritually. Unlike generic AI tools that give vague or unbiblical answers, My Faith Assistant is anchored in Scripture, built on seminary-level resources, and shaped by more than 50 years of trusted teaching from Dr. Michael Youssef. And it's free, no login required. Try it today at myfaithassistant.com.
Mama, what does the chicken say?
Chicken. Oh, okay.
When the wolf?
Oh, a wolf. Ooh!
What about the tiny dog? Cat. Owl. Dolphin? What does the turkey say? Whale.
Yeah, whale sound.
Do the giraffe.
Giraffe, really? Okay. Giraffe.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right.
Visit NHTSA.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hello, Americans. I'm Todd Starr. Stand by for news and commentary next.
At a time when technology is often used to distort the truth, there's a new tool that's actually getting it right. My Faith Assistant is a Bible-based AI designed to help you understand God's Word and grow spiritually. Unlike generic AI tools that give vague or unbiblical answers, My Faith Assistant is anchored in Scripture, built on seminary-level resources, and shaped by more than 50 years of trusted teaching from Dr. Michael Youssef. And it's free, no login required. Try it today at myfaithassistant.com.
Children at Westland Middle School in Bethesda, Maryland, got an in-depth lesson in transgenderism the other day. It was part of the school's Transgender Awareness Week, celebrating kids who are confused about their sexuality. 6th graders were provided advice for coming out to their parents and 8 tips for being non-binary. The school wanted kids to understand the difference between sex and gender, and then kids were quizzed on the lessons. In other words, the teachers wanted to make sure the kids had been brainwashed by the perverted pornographic propaganda. Sadly, our schools are being run these days by the alphabet mafia. Fox News obtained a copy of a lesson, and I was somewhat amused by one of the questions. How do people know if they're a boy or a girl? Well, back in the 1980s, kids normally figured out the answer to that question by whether they sat down or stood up to use the bathroom. I'm Todd Stearns.
The Todd Starnes Show begins in 4 minutes. The Todd Starnes Show begins in 2 minutes. The Todd Starnes Show begins in 1 minute.
From the Liberty University studio in Memphis, Tennessee, it's America's favorite gun-toting, Bible-clanging, deplorable American.
That's us. That's right. I love this American ride.
Todd Starnes.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Todd Starnes Radio Show. What an honor to have you with us today. 3 hours of conservative conversation coming your way. By the way, write down our telephone number. You're going to need this if you plan on calling in today. 901-260-5926. That is our telephone number. That's 901-260-5926. And by the way, you know, we have several stations around the country, and they actually carry us on delay. So if you call in during those hours, well, there's no one here to answer your calls. So we have a workaround. When you download our free app at toddsterns.com, you can actually leave us a shout out. And so your comment is then sent directly to us, and we can play that on the air the following day. So for those of you, I think in Wichita, Kansas, they carry us a little bit later in the afternoon. You'll be able to do that by simply going to toddsterns.com. All right, it's primary day, and of course, a lot of attention being focused on the great state of Florida, where President Trump's agenda is on the ballot in the Republican primary. Byron Donalds expected to do pretty well there. Also a big debate, and we're going to get into this with Adam Morgan in South Carolina between Darlene Graham and our good buddy Congressman Ralph Norman. By the way, this is interesting. Darlene Graham is now going by Graham as her last name. So she's been married, I think, twice. And so she has now gone back to her maiden name for the purposes of the Senate race there in the great state of South Carolina. That's a little weird, right? I don't know, it just seems weird to me. So, anywho's, we'll be following all of that for you. Also, Kristen Hawkins from Students for Life. A bunch of pro-lifers got kicked out of a coffee house. They were gathering, and they all bought coffee, and they were sitting around talking about pro-life issues, and they got kicked out. So we're going to talk to Kristen Hawkins in just a little while as well. But I want to start today with a weird story. It comes out of Penn State, and I just have to tell you, I am genuinely shocked by this report. But apparently, a bunch of fraternity brothers were running a cocaine ring out of the frat house. Now, Dylan, you went to University of Memphis. Did you guys have the fraternities and the sororities there?
We had a few, but we did have some that were canceled.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we did.
So they were
Not
doing
for
what?
Cocaine, though. Like, it was like drinking.
They were doing what? Naughty things?
Like, slightly naughty.
Okay.
I wouldn't go, definitely not, like, the crazy stuff that has been out there. Like, no swallowing of fish. No, like, ditching you at a beach in the dark. Like, there's nothing like that.
They didn't tie you, buck naked to a tree in the middle of the quad with duct tape?
Not that I know of. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's I'm not saying anything from personal knowledge.
Right. Yeah, it did sound very specific.
Yeah, I went to a Christian school. We had clubs.
Yeah.
With Greek alphabet letters, but they wouldn't let us call them fraternities.
Yeah. You had group hangouts.
That's right. It's like people were chugging Kool-Aid. Actually, we had, for our hazing, we had, so you'd have to eat a package of Chips Ahoy. Those are have you ever had a Chips Ahoy?
Oh, yeah.
Those things are good, but they're painful. If your throat is dry or something, because they're very dry cookies.
You have to pair it with a milk.
Well, this is where the hazing comes in. So you have to eat a packet, a whole sleeve of the Chips Ahoy cookies. Then you would have to drink a gallon of whole milk. And, of course, that's impossible, right?
Yeah.
Your body can only consume. So at some point, all of the cookies come back up.
Yeah.
That was the hazing we had to do.
That is terrible. That's like waterboarding with milk.
I am.
Milkboarding.
I do wonder, though, what are some of the craziest hazing rituals, you had to do in college? right?
Yeah.
Because there's some crazy stuff out there.
I know. I didn't go to one of these SEC college. I bet you that's where they're at. And I guess Penn State's going to be added to this list here. But like the SEC, like Alabama, Ole Miss, they probably have some crazy stories.
So, and because this weekend it's Rush Week, so all of the fraternities and sororities, and it is a huge deal at like the University of Alabama. Have you seen some of the videos?
Yes, unfortunately, yeah.
So it's funny because Megan Basham is, and this sort of all ties in together, but Megan Basham really got upset. She's like a Christian leader, a conservative lady, and she's really upset because some of the sorority girls are dancing like they're, what's the word I'm looking for here in their promotional videos? They're dancing like they're strippers. Or using the modern vernacular, hoes. I mean, that's it. I mean, that's what she's all upset about, right? And they are, I will say, scantily clad, but they are wearing clothes. And some could argue that it's very clever choreography, I guess. I don't see the young men at like the University of Alabama complaining about all of this. But maybe I'm just... So anyway, Megan Basham, here's what she wrote. She said, I say this. These are the... this was ASU. Is this Arizona State University?
Oh, yeah. Big frats over there.
Oh, Alpha Phi. So one of the Trump girls, and it's like a divide in Trump world. So one of the Trump girls said, if this sorority rush video of hot ASU Alpha Phi gals offends you, you're either gay or a fat S smelling liberal with pink hair. To which Megan Basham replied, I say this as someone who voted for Trump. Genius MAGA simps. The original video was not set to the YMCA. No one was signaling Trump support here. Now, can you admit they look like strippers?